World War II, when the fate of nations hung in the balance, the United States military turned to an unconventional weapon. Not guns, not bombs, but deception. A top-secret unit was formed, not from hardened soldiers, but from artists, actors, and engineers. Their mission? To trick the enemy, to create an army that didn't exist, to fight a war of illusions. This was the Ghost Army, and this is their untold story. As the world burned in the chaos of war, the U.S. Army needed an edge. The Allies were preparing for the final push into Nazi-occupied Europe. But brute force alone wasn't enough. They needed deception. They needed misdirection. Enter the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops, an elite unit with a classified mission so secret that even their fellow soldiers had no idea who they really were. This wasn't just another battalion. This was a ghost army, an invisible force designed to trick, mislead, and outwit the enemy. The members of the Ghost Army weren't ordinary soldiers. They were painters, designers, sound engineers, and Broadway actors. They had been recruited for their ability to create illusions. And in war, illusion could mean the difference between victory and defeat. They used three main tactics: visual deception, sonic deception, and radio deception. Each one was an art form in itself. Imagine this: a vast battlefield. Dozens of tanks and artillery pieces lined up ready for battle. Soldiers moving in formation, preparing for an attack. But look closer. Those tanks, inflatable rubber. Those soldiers, dummies. The entire army, a carefully crafted illusion. The Ghost Army used giant inflatable tanks, fake jeeps, and even entire airfields made of canvas to fool German reconnaissance planes. From the sky, everything looked real. But on the ground, it was a Hollywood set. One of their greatest tricks was in 1944, before the Battle of the Bulge. They set up an entire fake division, the 4th Armored Division, to mislead German forces. The enemy took the bait, diverting their troops away from the real Allied attack. But deception wasn't just about what the enemy could see, it was also about what they could hear. The Ghost Army recorded realistic battle sounds, tank movements, marching troops, and radio chatter. Using massive speakers, they blasted these sounds across miles of battlefield, making it seem like thousands of troops were moving in when, in reality, no one was there. One of their most daring missions was in the Rhine Valley. They created the illusion of a massive army preparing to cross the river. The Germans fell for it, repositioning their forces to counter an attack that never came. Meanwhile, the real Allied forces crossed elsewhere, unopposed. Radio communication was the lifeline of the military, and the Ghost Army knew how to manipulate it. Their radio operators became masters of deception, sending out fake transmissions that mimicked real divisions. They even copied the distinct styles of individual radio operators so that German intelligence would believe the messages were authentic. By doing this, they tricked the enemy into believing entire divisions were on the move, causing them to spread their forces thin and make tactical mistakes. As the war reached its climax, the Ghost Army's biggest challenge came during Operation Viersen in March 1945. This was their last, and perhaps most crucial, deception. The Allies needed to cross the Rhine River, but the Germans were heavily fortified. The Ghost Army set up a massive fake operation, complete with inflatable tanks, fake radio transmissions, and booming sound effects. The ruse worked. The Germans focused their defenses on the Ghost Army's fake invasion, leaving the real crossing point vulnerable. The Allies stormed across with minimal resistance. The deception had worked. Again. The Ghost Army's operations saved thousands of lives. By misleading the enemy, they prevented battles that could have cost countless American and Allied soldiers their lives. But for decades, their story remained classified. Their victories were never celebrated. Their heroism never recognized. Until now. Today, the Ghost Army's legacy lives on, a testament to the power of creativity in war. They proved that sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't a gun or a bomb, it's the human mind. A war fought with illusions. A battlefield shaped by deception. An army that never truly existed, yet changed the course of history. This was the Ghost Army. And now, their story is finally known.